pretty much everything you need to know about taming and using an Astrocetus in ARK Survival Evolved. Astrocetus can only be located within the lunar biome of the ARK Genesis DLC map. They can spawn pretty much anywhere within the atmosphere, and given their nomadic nature, are never in one place for very long. When scouting for Astrocetus, I would recommend using either a tech skiff or a bloodstalker, as navigating through the lunar biome can be rather challenging given the low gravity. If you're having trouble locating them, just follow the faint smell of cologne and the rainbow trails of whale splooge to bag yourself Moby Dick's fabulous cousin. Alright, so let's dive into the taming process of these oversized space whales and discuss some of the potential methods. Astrocetus are knockout tames that require high-impact weaponry to increase their torpor levels, similar to a rock golem or a carcanos. While similar tactics may be applied, the Astrocetus' sporadic behavior, seemingly variable aggression levels, and ability to fly make them far more difficult to knock out than their counterparts, especially if you're attempting this solo. With that being said, there are a few different methods for taming these things. Method number 1 is to use a mech with an MSCN module and cannon shells. 1 or 2 cannon shells to the head will instantly knock out an even max-level Astrocetus. The only difficult part is trying to lure the stubborn whale to your mech, since the low gravity of the lunar biome makes it practically impossible to control. Because of this, I would highly recommend using a tech skiff or a bloodstalker to aggro the Astrocetus and then lure it to your stationary mech. You can use rare flowers to help pull and maintain aggro during this process. Be warned that the Astrocetus' behavior is glitchy at best, so oftentimes it won't properly aggro. I've noticed sometimes that dismounting the tech skiff and consuming rare flowers tends to pull aggro more often, however this doesn't always work. Method number 2 is to use a tech skiff with a cannon to knock out the Astrocetus. While this method is perfectly viable, it's very difficult to pull off solo, and oftentimes the Astrocetus will move before you can get a proper headshot. You'll need to land multiple headshots using a cannon, so be prepared to frequently remount and drive the tech skiff to reposition for follow-up shots. If doing this solo, I would recommend positioning the cannon on a pillar close to the driver's seat for quicker access. If doing this with another tribe mate, place the cannon at the front of the skiff so they can pull off easier shots. Just be aware that the cannon should be placed on a structure of some kind, such as a pillar or a foundation, otherwise it could potentially hit the tech skiff and you're gonna have a bad time. Method number 3 is to place a cannon on pillars and attempt to lure the Astrocetus to it for an effective knockout. This method is only recommended if you don't have access to a mech or a tech skiff, as it is significantly more difficult to pull off. And finally, method number 4 is to use a bloodstalker and a rocket launcher to knock out the Astrocetus. While I've seen this method posted in a few different places, I found it to be rather risky and oftentimes expensive, so I wouldn't recommend it. The unfortunate part about taming an Astrocetus, just like taming a rock golem, is that the taming effectiveness will be immediately reduced upon knockout. This is due to the secondary splash damage that occurs when using heavy weaponry. I personally haven't found a way to prevent this secondary damage from occurring, so if any of you out there find a proper, repeatable method, post it in the comments and I'll pin it for others to see. Once the Astrocetus falls unconscious, you need to shove some food in that ass! Or just place it in its inventory. That works too. The Astrocetus' top 3 foods are extraordinary kibble, raw mutton, and raw prime. Their torpor levels drain rather slow, so you shouldn't need any narcotics to keep the thing knocked out, even on official servers. In order to ride your newly acquired rainbow space whale, the Astrocetus tech saddle must be crafted. This saddle engram is only unlocked upon defeating the Final Test Beta, or the Final Test Alpha boss, and requires the following resources to craft. Please note that the tech saddle will also require element in order to function to its full potential, however the Astrocetus can still be ridden even if it doesn't have a supply of element. Alright, so let's dive into the controls and functionality of the Astrocetus to showcase just how overpowered this thing can be. Astrocetus feature a left mouse button bite that does minimal damage, a right mouse button tail swipe that does moderate damage, a spacebar plus left mouse button teleportation ability, and a C key plus left mouse button cosmic bomb ability. The Astrocetus features a few unique gauges that keep track of fuel for some of its abilities. Hyperdrive is a primary limiter to the Astrocetus' teleportation. The entire hyperdrive gauge is consumed upon a successful teleport and prevents any further teleportation until it recharges passively over time. Cosmic power acts as a secondary limiter to how often the Astrocetus can teleport. A portion of cosmic power is consumed each time you warp and regenerates over time. Above the cosmic power and hyperdrive gauges are 8 additional bars that represent cosmic bombs that the Astrocetus has stored. Cosmic bombs are produced when the Astrocetus is provided with ambergris, a resource that is either passively produced within its inventory, or harvested from the spiked rock nodes within the lunar biome. The Astrocetus' tech saddle is what provides the space whale with all of its functionality and potential. It can be built upon similar to a Quetzal or a Paraceratherium platform saddle, however only a maximum of 5 structures can be placed on it. The saddle features a driver's seat, cosmic bomber seat, and 3 additional turret seats that can be mounted by allies. The bomber seat is accessible by mounting the Astrocetus and then pressing the C key. Cosmic bombs can be dropped by pressing the left mouse button, consuming one of the Astrocetus' available cosmic bomb charges as ammunition. While these bombs are extremely ineffective against enemy structures, they're incredibly powerful against wild or tamed creatures. This offers the ability to fly well over enemy turret range and drop bombs that can devastate enemy tames and potential threats. The turret seats consume element as ammunition that can be stored inside of the Astrocetus' inventory. These turrets are incredibly effective against enemy structures of all tiers. In fact, the turrets actually do more damage to tech structures than they do stone or metal. The only downside is the limited range of these turrets that can oftentimes place the Astrocetus within turret range of the enemy base. Astrocetus are capable of teleporting through other creatures, structures, and even natural formations. This unfortunately has reintroduced meshing into the game, however it will hopefully be fixed with upcoming patches. With all this being said, the Astrocetus certainly has glaring disadvantages. Their massive size, atrocious movement speed, especially in the water, and horrendous ability to turn makes them extremely cumbersome to control. While their teleportation ability is certainly useful and oftentimes exploitable, it has a very short range and is typically only useful if smack dab up against an enemy structure. Top all of that off with a rather low health pull, and you've got yourself a slow, vulnerable, and otherwise useless tame. So with all this in mind, what is the main purpose of the Astrocetus? Aside from reminding me about Chris Hemsworth's Moby Dick movie. Well, given the Astrocetus' destructive capabilities and the requirements for taming and acquiring the tech saddle, they're considered to be a high-tier PvP tame. I would recommend investing all feat points into health to improve the Astrocetus' survivability, as this is their greatest limitation. The Astrocetus' mountable tech turrets and cosmic bomb ability makes them extremely sought after for PvP situations and raiding, despite their aforementioned disadvantages. They're capable of wiping out enemy bases and tames from afar, and their teleportation capabilities make it possible to transport entire tribes into enemy bases. As long as they're utilized correctly, they can be one of the most overpowered tames in the entire game. Or an awesome base decoration. Alright, well that about wraps up this video. If you enjoyed, please be sure to give it a like down below, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and leave me comments because ambergris addiction is bad, okay?